welcome back to the session. Stay glued as we continue.
Okay, so we'll take questions from our audience.
Speaking to that point, I hear the question and it came up twice to say, which one is better, focusing on results or people? What do you advise, is it the people or is it results? And I think part of leadership mindset is the concept of the powerful and. So a lot of times we ask questions and we ask it as if we're being forced to choose one and not the other. So I would simply ask, is there anything wrong with achieving the results while the people feel inspired and happy to deliver? And if there's nothing wrong with that, why don't we try to do both? And it comes back to using questions. So we flip it around and ask ourselves, so how do I get the people inspired and motivated to deliver the results that we want? My question is how, okay? And asking a how question can get us into a good space of, I don't think that from a leadership perspective, we should force to choose one over the other, because I believe both are important, the people and the results, okay?
I think in the corporate world, there are countless examples of leaders with such mindset, so to speak, to get the results and then get the people out of the way. If we talk of probably the top 10 corporate organization, I'll use Southwest Airlines as an example. You can Google and check them. They are noted, or the organization is noted to be like the most successful profit-wise organization over the last how many years, 40 or 50 years, year by year, even with crisis and okay. And the data shows that the power in the profitability has a lot to do with how they treat their people, okay? They believe that it's the people that engage the customers that bring the money. So in Southwest Airlines, the people are the champions, okay? They have had instances of leadership change that have brought in different leadership styles, and they've seen how it has affected their bottom line. Okay. Clearly, there are situations where there's a company crisis, we need to bring somebody to come and cut in, okay? And if that issue continue consistently over years, it comes to the bottom line, like it affects the bottom line clearly, as the data has shown. So to Herman's point, what do I lose when I'm getting my results? I'm happy. The flip side of it, we don't seem to look inside at the self-awareness we talked about earlier on to say that, is there any way I can behave or lead differently to get the results and get the people still happy? For me, I think I sit in the space of how much effort am I putting in now? So when the people are very happy, as in bought into the vision and running the organization, I would definitely use less resources. I will use less resources. Not money-wise even. My time could be spent on other things to move the organization to the next level. And I would say that should be the reason for a leader to want to make the people happy. Because you will spend more. You will spend more when the people are not happy, even when you are getting your results. Right?
Good. So to talk to some of the other questions, there was a question about what is the best way of imparting mindset. That's to start with. I don't think or believe there's a best way, okay? I believe that usually we have effective ways of doing stuff or more effective ways of doing it, and there are many ways. From where I sit, one of the most powerful ways of imparting anything is to lead by example. So when people see you thinking in a particular way, acting in a particular way, leading in a particular way, and they feel inspired by that, they are likely to follow suit and try to be like that. So probably less of preaching and more of doing. And I connect that to the other question, which was asking, how do we use tangible initiatives to, for Africa to create resourcefulness in Africa? Again, it will be the same thing to say, from what we discussed earlier, start from self. So maybe it's to start by asking, how do I use whatever I've got in here to become more resourceful at what I do today? And then maybe someone might see you and get inspired by the way you're doing it, etc. And then they join forces with you, and then it begins to be a movement, and then the entire Africa impact will happen. It may not necessarily be about taking the stage and making one powerful speech, and then Africa gets converted. But what is clearly within our domain, you and I, is to say, what we've just gone through, what aspects of it can I use today to impact what I do so that we'll accelerate towards success and the goals we've set. Okay, so my perspective and the little I put in there is start using the tools, start doing it yourself, start leading by example. For me, I think makes a big difference. There was another question asking, how can a leader influence without authority? Interesting question. And maybe I add that to the other one to say, how does the culture of a people impact on the leadership? I believe that it does impact. And anytime you get into any context or a different situation and you don't fully understand and you want to impose your ideas, etc., it may not necessarily work. Okay, so certain definitions. I mean, we can look at the world over. Certain definitions of what we'll call a tyrant or whatever it is. The tyrant is removed and the country is in a mess. Okay, so could it have been that? And I don't have the answer. I'm just asking a question. Could it have been that that style of leadership was effective for that culture? Again, you'll meet some people from a certain context, and when they meet their leader, they fall prostrate and lie down, and it's like they're worshiping them. And then would you just say that, oh, that is really dehumanizing and whatever? Because another person without the right perspective might say so. And I think what is important is, within their own context, are they happy doing that? Two, are they getting the results they target through the people? So are the people happily working? Because it's not just so, culture does have an impact, and I think we need to be mindful of just picking some idea, lock, stock, barrel, and dump it on a certain situation, and then begin to judge and call it bad leadership or good leadership. Okay. Context does matter. And to the point of authority and how can you lead without authority or through influence and not authority, I would put out a simple situation and say, if we stepped out now and they told us that, oh, there is a contest, there's a prize. If all of you can move this log of wood from this stage, let's say the poolside, to the parking lot, the whole group will get $3 million. Okay. What do you think will start happening? And it has to happen within an hour. Okay, it's a big log. We have 3 million to share. Okay, would we start saying, okay, who has the authority to lead this project? Okay. A leader will emerge, isn't it? Because all of us know that we have $3 million to share. Okay, so I believe that different circumstances and in everyday life situations, leaders emerge, and they don't always have to come with a certain labeled authority. And depending on their effectiveness, they are able to build the authority. So in the story of moving the log, maybe initially people will share different ideas, etc., and we are all lost and listening to each other. Then at a point, maybe we might feel inclined to say, let's go with this guy's plan. It looks like it will work for us. We have only 1 hour. Okay. And when we try the plan and it's working, then we are likely to keep following.
Yeah.
And when we try and it's not working, then we'll start looking for some other form of functional and effective leadership. Okay. So sometimes authority will emerge.
From another perspective, to say I agree that you cannot lead without authority. I agree. And what is your definition of the authority? The greatest authority as a leader is the one given to you by the people. Yeah? When the people decide that they will follow you, there is no other authority that can override that authority. The context of leadership and authority is all about the people are willing and happy to follow you. That authority is bigger than any like legal or formal authority that may be given you. I think before we came here, we're sharing the same idea that when the people are ready to follow me, one, and I have a formal authority on top of it. Do you know what that means? So you seek this one first. Using Herman's example, the moment they put a price there, and somebody emerges who seems to be giving direction to meet this objective, all of us will willingly. That authority was not sanctioned by anybody, and is the most powerful authority you need as a leader. In context, I'll say yes, every leader needs authority, and the greatest authority is the one that people give you to follow.
Good. There are follow-up questions?
There are some few questions that still needs to be tackled. There was a question on coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
Which of the models?
Yeah.
So
I believe that's what Isaac was
Yeah.
just speaking to now. So again, I mean, to speak to the point, I don't think that we should be too busy trying to know what the difference between coaching and mentoring is, okay? Knowing alone will not do much for us. Why do we want to know? This is the question, okay? And the why is because we want to be effective leaders. So without giving it any name, how do the most effective leaders behave? And can we also behave like that? Okay. To inspire those emotions that Isaac was, so that people will give you extra discretionary effort to put in.
You need that. Yeah. You need that. You need to feel like people are giving more than you're asking from them. That is like a feedback to the leader that yes, the people are following me.
That's true.
Okay.
Good.
If there are no follow-up questions, then
there were.
Okay.
It's a very interesting scenario. Without attempting to say this is the best way or this is the only way,
This is how you
or
reconcile.
this is how exactly you reconcile it. I have some ideas around that I can share. Is to say again, moving the leadership to the next level, the organization itself. What are their criteria for getting people into the former authoritative positions? Okay, that will influence how people, which type of people actually get to occupy those positions.
Okay.
We all make mistakes. The organization can make a mistake and get some bad, in quotes, leader into a certain position. And it's not out of space for the organization to realize that this is a situation. So I've come across a case, for example, there was this new leader, authority leader, came into the market for a certain pharmaceutical company. Actually, the performance of the company was dipping. Okay, so they brought this new person. The agenda was clear to help bring back the business. For 3 successive years, it was clear. The leader was really moving the company, like 3 successive years, like that. And you know, in these multinationals, every year we do employee engagement surveys to assess how employees are feeling. Are they fully engaged? So whilst the sales was going, or the performance was going like this, the surveys, the engagement surveys were going like that. I mean, this leader was invited to the corporate, the international headquarters one day. It was actually at the end of the year. So, you know, when the performance is very good and they invite you, you have a certain expectation that they are going to bless you with some. And then he gets there and they say, sorry, we can't continue with you again.
Wow.
Just like that. Because when they project in the next 5-10 years, okay, this performance, as they say, is not sustainable based on the engagement of the people. So however the person was doing it, and to the point of results of people, it was clear that it's only for a while. And I think this is Jim Collins or one of those guys who tries to differentiate between like a successful company and an effective company. So success is just results, bottom line. Over the years, the year has ended, give me my bonus, we were successful. Effective companies look at consecutive success over years, like 20 years consecutive success. And it's difficult to achieve that when the people are not involved. Yeah? Yeah.
So to speak to that point, another perspective could be to ask yourself, because we bring the conversations of leadership to the self, the individual. Yeah. Okay. So it's to say, if they've given me authority and I don't have the support of the people, how do I want to move ahead? So I believe that how question is a very powerful question at any given time, that you need to make some choices. And the other side also holds true, to say, if the people hold me at a certain level of authority, high esteem, and my organization does not recognize that, how do I want to approach it? Is there something I could do differently? Would I be happy if the organization recognizes what the people recognize in me? And if I'm looking for the organization to recognize it, how will I do it? Okay, so I will encourage us not to be making binary choices and to come up with things to say this is how you do it, or this is the best way, or this is the correct answer. I would always say reflect it back and put it in some kind of context, a model, and ask yourself, so where do I want to be and how do I get there? Okay. That's the sort of reconciliation I would propose in such a situation.